arguments ensued, and then she decided to leave the party. Her brother-in-law was bringing her home, and he stopped the vehicle and he said he wanted his house keys from Delana. And as he's like reaching for the key, asking for Delana for the key, I think the ex-husband started shooting the gun, and so he was just frozen on the spot. I think he shot her 12 times. Yeah. One of the reasons why they would not sometimes talk about GBV is because many a times your biggest contributors to the church finances is people that are the same man is abusing his wife.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of the Everyday Gents. It's your boy, Captain. It's your girl, Melissa Savage Seville in the back. We have another special guest on the show today. This guest is a first-time guest on the show, and this conversation is a first-time conversation as well for Tegs. Very happy to have you on the show, Elton. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Thanks, Ashley.
This is Elton Adkins. He is a community member of Pietermaritzburg, and he also helps people with gender-based violence as well. So if you are interested in listening and understanding and getting to know more about open conversation and gender-based violence, this is the episode for you, and this is the right man as well. Please excuse me for wearing my shades, guys. I'm in this lovely Pietermaritzburg sun. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm literally facing the sun directly, so I need to keep these shades on. That being said, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm well, thanks. How you guys doing?
You okay? How was your morning?
I'm morning. Oh, well, I wish I could sleep in a little longer, but but it's fine. Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry, we have very busy schedules today, so
No
we try
problem.
to come and catch you bright and early.
No problem.
Again, thank you for hosting us. So just tell us a bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Yeah.
And how did you become the person doing what you're doing today?
Sure. Well, as you said, my name is Elton. Married to one wife. So yeah, I've got married. I got into GBV because of a death of a close friend. My wife and I, close friend of my wife and I, Delana Kader. And so that motivated me. I need to do more for the ladies and the children in the city, especially when it comes to GBV issues. It just became a pain in my heart that there's no really men standing up for women. If you find GBV campaigns or protests, it's only women. And so I started on the 18th of March 2023 Facebook page in honor of Delana Kader. It was initially called Justice for Delana. Now it's transitioned to Delana Kader Legacy after her ex-husband was sentenced. Yeah.
How many years has it been since she's no longer with us?
Well, now it's just in May the 13th was 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's now, what is it, 13 months now? Yeah.
I did see some of the Facebook posts, just trying to get a feel and an understanding of what it is that we're going to be talking about. And I think her sister also posted a video or something of that sort in support of the gender-based violence stuff. And I think our sister looks familiar. I don't know where I recognize her from, but she looks familiar. Before this, what was it that you were doing? Were you always into this kind of stuff, or did you?
Well, yeah, I've always been involved in community issues, campaigns, non-profit organizations. Before this, I was doing community development. I had to get involved with youth, children, actually from kids rather 3 to 4 years old, right up to seniors. I was busy in the other community I was involved in. So I've always been involved in community issues, whether it was fundraising for someone who was going through something, for a project, I've always been involved in community. I think that's my heart.
Where does that passion come from?
I think it's just to see our communities being uplifted.
Yeah.
I think especially in our colored communities, I'll be honest with you, is that we find drugs has overtaken so many of our young people, and you realize the potential of our young people and our youth. We have so much to offer this country. I mean, we're the second largest race in this country, yet we also maybe at times the most marginalized.
Yeah.
And so I believe there's so much more we can offer. And I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to pick up my hand and say, listen here, this will not only happen in my name. I believe that saving that one household or that one lady, it makes a huge difference.
I want to ask you, what's the support been like from the community? Do you feel like this was something that was needed? Were there other gender-based violence organizations before you? And what's the support been like from the community for it?
Okay, firstly, the support really has been immense. I can't lie. The communities of Pietermaritzburg really came out, gave their support to the campaign, gave their support to gender-based violence. I think many of them also expressed that the fact that it's a men's-only organization, men fighting against domestic abuse, 5 men taking the fight, to the justice system. So that was totally different to what they see. Yes, there are other GBV organizations which have helped us. I mean, we've had networks with so many other NGOs in the city that have come on board, helped us with counseling and just giving us advice, teaching us. Because you have to go through teaching when it comes to GBV. You just can't say wake up one day and do GBV. You really got to get involved, go through some teaching, and know the steps how to approach this here. Especially if a woman's been abused, sexually abused, you can't just run all 5 men go to the. Sometimes the last thing a woman wants to see is a man because of that. So we've partnered with ladies, with our spouses, who will accompany us on such occasions, and we will just stay in the background, just to like a support. And while they will go talk or we'll take a counselor with so forth. But support has been excellent, honestly, throughout the city and beyond that, and beyond.
I just want to ask you this question, right? And I'll tell you why I'm asking. My question is it mostly, okay, it is mostly, but do you have cases whereby men experience gender-based violence, on the other hand? Because I had a friend who was speaking to us and he said, hey, gents, my fro, I think his wife or partner was pregnant at the time and she was going through like her hormonal things and whatever. So in that, she was not herself pretty much, and then there was that domestic abuse where she was kind of violent him, whatever. So he ended up going to the police for that, and the police just pretty much said, hey bro, she's pregnant, just get over it or whatever. So when he went to court for that as well, the court threw the case out because pretty much not enough evidence. You know what I mean? So I want to know, like, it came across from his story, and that was just one story. I don't know, generally speaking, but it's like people don't take men's cries seriously when it comes to gender-based violence.
You're absolutely right. Well, stats have shown that 97% of GBV crimes are committed by men, and there's 3% that's women abusing men, which is quite low, but it's still a serious concern. Actually, now that you brought it up, a few weeks ago I posted on our community groups about gender-based violence. If you know someone's involved in gender-based violence or has been abused or you have been abused, please contact us. And one of the guys said, what about us men? And I said, no, that's so true. A lot of the times men go through also verbal abuse, where their partner or spouse, the wife, demeans them with words. And so they feel less of a man. They're stripped of their manhood because of the words she's speaking. And we know that women's words are powerful. They can say things to us. They can break us down. And so you find, like this guy says, we suffer from a lot of verbal abuse. And the thing is that we don't want to respond through violence, because then we will get charged and locked up. How do we deal with the situation? I've always said you've got to learn, that couple has to go for counseling. There has to be counseling and find out what is the root cause, what is causing this woman to say that. Likewise with the man, what is causing a man to abuse a woman? Because we also are trying to reach out to the abusive man before he kills that woman. Because many times we find, and stats have shown, that when women have been abused, likewise even men, they go back to the same partner because that's the only life they know. And sometimes it's financially, because that person provides. And we say, what is it causing this man or this woman to abuse? Then there needs to be serious counseling before this man or this woman takes a life, you understand, or takes a whole family out. Because we've seen instances of like that, where even the children are being killed, And so we've got to come to a place where there's counseling involved. And the problem is that many times as men, like you say, we go to the police station and the police laugh, or they don't take it seriously. They say, hey, but you're a man, you're supposed to, put this woman right or whatever. And they laugh at you.
When you put the woman right, you get charged and you end up sitting in jail.
That's the thing. And we've had a few meetings with the CPF in Pietermaritzburg and with the police. We said, hey, when men come through, please take their concerns seriously. By them coming here to the police station knowing they could be ridiculed.
It's embarrassing also for a man to go to a police station and speak to other men about a woman abusing you. It's an embarrassing
so true.
thing, you know what I mean?
It is so true, because you looked at, you're not a man. You're not a man. You're not that old, Especially in our communities, how they will laugh at you. And yet abuse is not something a laughing matter. Something seriously. And we said to the police, you've got to take this seriously. If a man takes that step to come here, that means it's serious. Because either he's at the end of his rope and he could lose it, and he may hurt this woman in a bad way, or may actually kill her.
And you know what, also, if you look at the history of men, by nature, we're supposed to be protecting, right?
Yeah.
But also, by nature, we are those who go out and use force,
Yes.
Not just force to abuse. I'm talking about force like lift up heavy weights, for construction working, building, everything. Men are known for that.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the days when it was time to defend your nation, defend your family, it was by force, not by going and talking to someone and say, hey, please, sir.
That's so true.
Kill and fight and stuff. So it's built within a man's nature to do that. So I feel like sometimes, and guys, don't get me wrong here, I'm not blaming women in any way. I'm just saying I feel like some women play on that. They understand that the system supports them fully, and they know exactly what buttons to push. There's an old saying that goes, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is a big lie.
It's a big lie.
Because words stay. It's like a stain on your white shirt that you can never get out. You know what I mean? Especially for a man. You can hurt me today, I'll heal up tomorrow.
Sure.
But words remain on a person's heart. So that's why I asked the question about, is there any other organizations? Because I get you saying, let's go to the police and stuff like that, right? But in our country, for example, I'll use another example. We see more of the security companies helping civilians quicker than our own police,
Yeah.
I don't know what security companies you've got here, but we got KZN, VIP, and all these places. They get to the scene first. In almost every report, you'll see that KZN VIP was here, that was here. And then Becky Taylor comes.
Yes. No, that's
you know
so
what
true.
I mean? So in the same way, yes, a man's going to go to the police station, but I feel like your organization and others alike, just from an educational piece, are very important.
Yeah.
in that way, just to get people educated about it, because I think the police is the last resort, but I think the education is the first.
Oh yes, oh yes. You're so true. You're so right about that. I think we've always stressed this here. We've been, be honest with you, we've had a few GBV workshops in the city, poorly attended, poorly attended because I don't know. Is it GBV is a tough subject to talk about, um, but I don't know what is it. But education is always the key. That men and women know their rights. That is, like you say, a woman must not also press a man's buttons knowing that she's got the law to back her up, because the cops so easily arrest a man. But education is the key to get the family unit functioning properly, especially when it comes to GBV. That if men, as you say, men know their roles to protect and provide, and women how to support this man, and also to support the home. But that's why I think we left with so much fatherless generation, because of the fact that there is so much of both partners are pulling towards opposite ends instead of pulling together. And so when you don't get enough education concerning the family unit, concerning GBV, concerning how do we make this thing work, you'll find that divorce becomes the next option. And yet there's before divorce there's counseling. The problem with us amongst uh, our non-white society is that we hate counseling. We hate to go to counseling. Is not for us, it's for the weak, type of thing. And yet we all need counseling. I mean, there was a time in my life, and even my wife and I's life, we needed counseling because we realized we are not an island. We need help, much help as we can get. And it's not a shame. It actually makes you stronger, because it takes courage to reach out to someone and say, I need help. But to sit back and not allow yourself to get this help that is so needed, and it's so available out there, you're just killing yourself and you're killing your family, man. So as you say, education is the key, and I'll encourage people, find the help out there. This Gift of the Givers organizations, this Lifeline, there's so many organizations out there that are willing to help when it comes to educating people, counseling people. Yeah.
You're speaking about that, right? There's a lot of places that are willing to help. But if I'm honest with you, for an average person who doesn't know these organizations, we see more advertisements of alcohol than we do of Gift of the Givers and stuff.
Yeah.
Why is there such a big gap? Why must people go so... Honestly, I wouldn't know where to start if I had to go and look for something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't even have to even look for the nearest liquor store, because it's there. So what I'm trying to say is the gap. This is a very important subject. We're losing people, and you spoke about fatherless communities. That's one of the most rife things that seems to be happening in most of our communities, right? Why is there such a big gap between information getting out from that scale to just people opening up liquor stores and stuff?
I'll be real with you. I've always maintained this here. The government plays a huge role, and civic societies. The government, the reason why I say that is that many gender-based violence organizations are closing down because of the lack of funds. Because to get the word out there, hey, we are here to help you, it takes money to advertise. And sponsorships, because of the economy, is very far and few between. So you hardly find companies also getting involved in that. And yet every August Women's Month, you'll hear the government speaking about GBV, we're taking it seriously, but they're not putting money towards that. And then also the fact that civic societies are dying because people are not coming out to support them. And when they're calling out for campaigns, when they're calling out for, help us to reach the next generation or so forth, people are not coming out to support them. And so there has to be a working together with government, civic organizations to get the word out there. Because, like you say, alcohol and all these social ills, if I may call them that, so readily available. But the organizations that are really doing much to try to change people's lives, they're not getting so much of the support that is so necessary out there. And so it starts with government also pumping resources into these organizations to say, listen here, we are here to support you guys. We're not just paying lip service to it once every year or every 16 days of activism. No, but throughout the year, we are here to show that we
are there funds allocated for things like this?
There is funds, but to get those funds, it's so difficult because I mean, we just became a registered NPO about 5-6 months ago. We've been reaching out to private businesses, and I'll be honest with you, it hasn't been easy to get funding from businesses because we've been many times before we've been using our own resources to get to places, to whatever paperwork, whatever was needed, to get from one part of the city to another part of the city to help and assist women that have been involved in GBV or children or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to. We've applied to Department of Social Development, for funding. We obviously await all that there, and but we can only just keep trying. And that's why we say we need the help. And I'll be honest with you, it's not just for me and for the rest of the guys. It's not just something that is a duty. It's a passion. I really have a passion for this year, and I really want to see change within our communities. I really want to see a healthy family unit. Honestly, I don't want to see men abandoning their families and running away because they feel they can't deal with this anymore, or they can't take this woman anymore. This woman feel I can't take this man anymore. They need to work together, and we need the support from society, from government. Yeah, we do.
In politics, we talk about radical economic change, transformation,
yeah.
Right? And the question is, how long do we think it'll be? Because they've been speaking about that since 1994.
Yes.
And we still haven't seen radical economic transformation, right? So the vision that you have for this gender-based violence and for us to be, what's the percentage? You said it's what, 97%? 97%, right? To even get it down to even 50% or even below 50%. How far do you think we have to go for that? With all the challenges that we're currently facing now? Do you think it'll happen in your lifetime?
Hey, I'll be honest with you. There are days when I get up and when I open a newspaper or open the Women for Change Facebook page, and I just see another woman being killed. Statistically, it's proven that 8 to 10 women die a day in South Africa, are killed. And I'll be honest with you, I'd rather say that I don't think it'll happen in our lifetime.
Sorry, can you tell me recording on your phone? On your phone. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen in our lifetime, honestly. Actually, to see the numbers drop, I mean, even if we can drop it below 80, 70%, it'll be a huge improvement. But many of the people involved in this fight, many of them feel the same. It's like we are not doing enough. When we see the stats, and it's of the rape cases that are getting reported to the police, there's even a larger number that has not been reported because of the fear of that woman, of that perpetrator. She's been threatened. So the cycle continues. If he's not raping this woman, he's raping another woman. So we've seen these stats. We've seen all this happening. And I mean, we're part of the northern areas here. The GBV from this area going back to the northern areas, it is appalling. It is actually the highest in the city. And so the amount of cases that I think come up, one of my colleagues, Alan Werner, he said that every month at the domestic violence court, there's over 300 cases a month you have to deal with.
From the north?
From the city.
Okay.
But predominantly from the north, yes. But that's only the ones that have been reported. There's probably another over 300 that have not been reported. And this is only Pietermaritzburg alone. And so it's just, I don't know, I really desire that we will get, the numbers will drop. But in our lifetime, to be honest and to be brutally honest, I don't think so.
And do you know any of the statistics? How much of that is our youth?
Yeah. When it comes to you mean the young ladies dying at the hands of their partners?
Yes, like youth. So what I'm trying to get at is, where's our youth in this? Our youth, the future, or are they helping to reduce this?
Yeah.
Is it that we just have to wait for all those who are older that are abusing to meet their maker and we have a better future, or do we see more of the youth now also?
Surprisingly, I'll be honest with you, and that's what scares me, and that's what our desire is to. I'll be honest with you, our desire is mostly to reach out to the young people. We have seen more cases of our youth, young adults murdering females. I mean, we saw a case when was it late last year of a 14-year-old girl. She was stabbed in her own home by another 14-year-old boy, and it's in Cape Town. If you go to the Western Cape, the Cape Flats areas, the young girls that are losing their lives to boys that are teenagers and are just out of their teens, it's astounding. So that generation needs to be reached, because then they'll be following the pattern of the older generation. And if we don't reach them, we are losing the next generation, unfortunately.
In the beginning, you mentioned the reason why you started this was because your wife had
my wife and I is close friend.
Yes, named Alana, who sadly passed away as a result of gender-based violence. Right?
Sure.
Can you tell us how long has it been that you was facing this, when you came to know about it, and if you can share a bit about the outcome in the case and stuff like that, you can go ahead.
Okay. I'll give you a brief rundown of what really happened. On the 13th of May last year, 2023, about an hour and a half before Mother's Day, about 10:30, between 10 and 10:30, 13th of May. It was a Saturday evening. Delana and a estranged husband at that time, a just recently divorced husband at that time, attended a party at Ashburton. And then an argument ensued, and then she decided to leave the party. Her brother-in-law was bringing her home, and then the ex-husband stopped the vehicle. He was in the other vehicle with his brother-in-law, Delana's brother-in-law, and he stopped the vehicle and he said he wanted his house keys from Delana. Apparently, they got into another argument on the road in Ashburton, and the brother-in-laws got involved, separated them. Delana was sitting at the back seat, and then eventually she moved to the front seat of the vehicle. And as a
that was with him, or because they had two vehicles?
There was she was with one other brother-in-law, and he was with the other brother-in-law in the other vehicle. So there were two separate vehicles, but he stopped a few meters ahead of them, and he said he wanted his keys. And so argument ensued. She got into the car, and then he tapped on the window of the vehicle by the brother-in-law, and he pushed down the window a few centimeters. And as he's like reaching for the key, asking for Delana for the key, I think the ex-husband started shooting the gun, and so he was just frozen on the spot. I think he shot her 12 times. Yeah, she was shot 12 times. And so the brother-in-law, the both brother-in-laws got out of the vehicle and started running. And he started running after them and said, guys, come out. I just need to talk to you guys. I'm not going to do anything to you. And thank goodness it was load shedding, because they were hiding by a house, by the gate, the entrance of the house, the gate. And so they laid flat on the ground. And I think, so they could see him, he couldn't see them. And he had his gun in his hand at times still. So when I think he heard the siren, because I think the neighbors heard the gunshots, they called MI7, and he could hear that the sirens coming. So he ran to his vehicle, ran past the vehicle where he shot his ex-wife, got into the vehicle, and he ran away. So the next morning, on Mother's Day morning, Sunday, I think early hours of the morning, after 4 in the morning, I think, he handed himself over to the police with his lawyer. And so then the case started. And then we had a memorial service on the 18th of March, 18th of May. It was a Thursday, I remember, at one of the churches. And so on that 18th of May, that evening after that service, I said to my wife, I'm going to start a Facebook page in honor of Delana. That evening, it took me, I was gathering pictures from a Facebook, from a TikTok, from my Instagram and all that, and from my sisters and whatever.
Yeah.
I informed the mother, I informed the sisters, I'm starting this page, and they said, go ahead. They gave me their blessing. And the next day I got up, I think there was over 500 followers again within 24 hours. And so on the 22nd or 23rd of May, there was his first bail hearing. I rallied the community on Facebook, on Natal Witness. There was a comment about the case. On the comment section, I rallied the people. I said, please join us at the court. We're going to be, this is the first bail application he's going for. Please come out. We want you out in support. And surprisingly, people came out. And people started coming, and it just started growing and growing. Eventually, the page got even international views. People from all across the globe. And eventually, he was never given bail. Even when he appealed the bail sentence at the High Court, it was rejected. And because this murder gained so much traction in KZN, local media houses, ENCA, Newsroom Africa, actually came here to interview us, and the family made me I became the spokesperson for the family. And so eventually it went to trial. At the trial, the first trial hearing, he pleaded guilty. He said he's changing his plea from not guilty to pleading guilty.
I was going to ask that, because he literally handed himself in to say you're not guilty.
But during the bail application, he said he's not guilty. So yet the evidence was stacked against him. So we had the trial. It started in March. It was supposed to go on for about 10 days, but because he pleaded guilty, it took about within a week of the 25th or 26th of March of this year, he was sentenced to 22 years in imprisonment. Now, after 22 years, we know of 22 years, you have the possibility of parole after 11 years. And so people are still appalled by the sentence, obviously. They were not happy with the sentence because they said after 11 years, he can come out. But it's not a given, because the victim impact statement can still come into play. And so we are hopeful that he won't serve 11 years, but it'll go beyond 11 years. And so...
How old is he now?
He's 47 years old. And so, yeah, and Delana was 43, which, yeah, she was 42 when she was killed. I think she turned 43 in September. And so, yeah, she was an incredible person, honestly. that's why we've transitioned the page, because after the sentence, it was no more justice for Delana. We changed the page to Delana K, the legacy page, Facebook page. And now we're doing charitable acts. It's become more almost like a foundation to reach out to give to people. On Mother's Day, we went out and we delivered over 30 parcels of food hampers to people in Pietermaritzburg in honor of Delana. And she left behind 3 sisters. Obviously, it's a mom, Wendy Hammond. It's 3 sisters, Latoya, Shantae, and Raylan. Raylan is working in Dubai, in UAE. Shantae, she just arrived now. And Latoya is a doctor. She lives in Greytown. So, and then she leaves behind 3 daughters. LaShawn just turned 16 now last month in May. Dylan is 13, and Izzy is 6 years old. Yeah, she leaves behind the 3 daughters. Yeah, so.
And right now we are actually sitting on the property.
On the property, yes.
Just behind us is where Delana
she
actually lived.
Yes.
Yeah, as well. But I wanted to also just ask you to touch on, when did you guys come to actually know? Was this like a shock? Obviously, the murder was a shock. You get that. But in terms of the actual violence and the abuse, was it something that was known?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. It was well known, obviously, with the family, obviously, and I think close friends. And I think the case also brought up a lot of that there. It was reported in the media. She had 4 protection orders against him. 4 protection orders. And all 4 protection orders were withdrawn. And because of pressure, outside pressure, so she withdrew it. And that's what we always say to women: if you have a protection order, or if a man has a protection order against the perpetrator, never withdraw the protection order. Because we've seen women especially withdraw protection orders, and their lives end. Because a protection order, once the perpetrator violates that protection order, the police can pick up the person and arrest the person. So it became apparent, it became well known that he used to abuse Delana physically, emotionally, verbally. Actually, I'll say that he was obsessed with her. He was obsessed with Delana because he would monitor every move. He'd even have cameras in the house installed.
Yeah.
You'll have some tracking device on her vehicles without her even knowing where. So when she doesn't even know, but he'll know her whereabouts. He was totally obsessed with her. And I think it's that case there, where we say, if I can't have you, no one will, type of thing. And so, and his rage, and many times I've spoken to him about his rage. I've seen it with his workers, he used to go into such a rage with his workers, and I used to say, this rage is not good for you. And even at times when he used to speak to Delana in a very derogatory way, my wife Tracy would say to him, don't talk to your wife that way. My husband doesn't even talk to me that way. Respect your wife, even in front of people. But he just had no way of respecting this woman, honestly. And that's why I've said on the live broadcasts that he was a narcissist, and definitely was. He had narcissistic behavior. Sorry. He only apologized through a letter when he pleaded guilty. That's the only time we really got to hear he said he's sorry for what he's done. To be honest with you, I'm not sure everyone buys the honesty, whether it's real or not, whether it was genuine. But I know the family, because they come from a Christian background, they've decided it's better to forgive him than to hold on to this pain. Because at the end of the day, if they live in this unforgiveness, it only affects them. He's he's in jail. He's getting on with his life. He's doing whatever he has to do there to survive, whatever. And so, I'll be honest with you, it's been such a journey for them. Actually, the last 4 years for this family has been difficult. Losing their father, losing Talana, losing a close uncle to this year, losing some cousins, also other uncles. So it's been a journey of pain for this last 4 years for this family, and so it hasn't been easy for them, honestly.
You mentioned them coming from a Christian background, and I just was thinking, what role does the church play in supporting or the fight against gender-based violence? Because we hardly hear, I'm going to be honest, we hardly hear those conversations in church, and a lot of people think that church is the counseling place to go to if you've got that, instead of going, because you said our people we don't like counseling, but we'll go to church, but we don't hear a lot of that in church. Is it the church's responsibility? Do they have a responsibility for that?
Actually, your earlier question you brought up about how easily you can find alcohol being advertised and GBV not, and that was one of my points, and I think I'm just thankful that you brought it up. That's been one of my bones of contention, should I say, is that church, civic society, mosques, whatever religious organization you come from, they play a pivotal role in making sure the message of GBV goes out. But I'll be honest with you, we have conferences in church about kingdom finance. We'll have conferences about, you name it, everything else, except in all my church life, I've been going to church now for 20 plus years. I've never heard any GBV being spoken about. It does such a disservice to congregants. Besides church, I'm not just lost in churches, but all religious organizations. That's the right time to talk about GBV. We need to see more GBV conferences in the church, because I think, what's the reasons, and I've said it openly before. One of the reasons why they would not sometimes talk about GBV is because many a times your biggest contributors to the church finances is people that are the same man is abusing his wife. You'll find that men which affluent men are beating their wives into submission, and so that wife will come to church full of makeup. She's got makeup, and you wonder, why does woman wear so much makeup? No, she's hiding the scars. So the pastor knows. The pastor knows he must pick up something, because you don't offend that man, because you need his finances and you need his so-called tithes and offerings. So you're not going to talk about GBV. You're going to lose that man. So you rather leave it like that. And so this is where we come to a point where the church and the religious organizations, they're doing a great disservice, because a lot of women are suffering within the church, within the mosques, within the synagogues, wherever. They are suffering because the person that's giving spiritual leadership in the front does not want to talk about these issues. So they sweep it under the carpet, and then we find there's an issue in the church. And even when it's brought up in the church, they want to sweep it quickly under the carpet. Don't go to the police station, we'll counsel you. No, women need to run to the police station. I don't care whether the pastor says no, he's doing a disservice to that woman, actually to that whole family, to that whole community. That pastor needs to either step down and say, he's not worth it being a pastor. I'll be honest with you, I don't respect pastors like that. I got no time for them. I got no respect for them, because number one, you are putting a woman and a whole family's life at risk, because you are so selfish. You want to keep the church's finances at a certain level to please an abuser. We need to wake up. And so churches need to wake up throughout South Africa, throughout the world. That's why we'll find that if you do a secret survey or poll, and say to women, we're not going to mention names. If you're abused, please do a poll. I'm telling you, I won't be surprised if we're sitting at over 60, 70% of women within the churches, within the mosques, within these shrines, whatever places, they have been abused. They have been abused. So there's a huge disconnect between organizations like us and the churches. And that's why when we started this year, I'll be honest with you, only 3 churches invited us to come speak.
Yeah.
Think of how many churches are here in Pietermaritzburg. In one community of, like, let's say, for example, in this Woodlands community we in here, there's probably about, what, 6, there's probably about over 10 churches probably.
Yeah.
In this community only.
There's one just up the road, 2 up the road.
Yeah. There's about 3 in one road, I know. We only got invited by 3 ministers throughout the city that wanted to speak about GBV. The rest closed ranks. Why? They don't want to talk about it, but they so easily find it easily to talk about money. They want rather your money becomes more important than your life.
Very passionate about that. I just let you speak, you know, because
I'm very passionate about
the passion that came from that. Yeah. Wow, man, that is amazing. That's astonishing. And thank you for, you know, openly speaking about that. I want to ask you also, if you had the opportunity to sit at the power rank,
yeah,
and say, I'm pressing the buttons.
Sure.
Here's what needs to happen for us. What are some of the changes you would make, starting from grassroots level to end level of where you think we would be fine now?
Sure.
This will be eradicated.
You know, if I was pulling the purse strings when it came to government, and they gave me a portfolio like that, I'm starting at primary school level, even at preschool level, because kids, what they're learning now, even at preschool, they have an understanding of certain things. And I would invest in proper training for teachers. That's where I'll first start. Invest with teachers that have a passion and a desire to see change, starting at preschool, primary level. Hiring only teachers that are specifically focused on the family unit, teaching young boys, teaching young girls. This is how you become a man. A man is not someone who goes out there with the guys and you act like you're this guy and you're cool and you're thinking by sleeping with so many women that you are this person, or a lady thinks, oh, I'm a slave queen or whatever. No, that does not make you a woman. But this is what makes you a man. That's what makes you a woman. From preschool level right up, and especially when we come to primary school and high school, secondary school. Because in high school we're finding now teenagers are having already sexual intercourse.
Primary school too.
Thank you, Ash. Even in primary school, we're getting shocked at some of the stats we see. Yeah, you don't blame them, but absolutely, and which is actually disgusting. Yeah, they're taking the parental rights away.
But then again, apparently Mary was pregnant at the age of 12 to
14. 14, yeah, and which was obviously that was what we say the conceptual birth. What's the word for it? Yeah, but anyway, so we have this year where these young girls have been also in school already been abused by young boys. Hey, you mine. You don't talk to those other boys or whatever. So as an act of ownership, I would invest more money into schools, into civic organizations, I would encourage NGOs what follow the GBV principles. I would invest more money into that, because I understand while investing money into that, it's the come back to the thing, as you said, education being the key. They're going to have education workshops about how to treat, how you go about the family unit, how do you treat women, how do you treat men, and it involves counseling and all of that too.
This is the 3rd time I'm hearing this. Okay, this is the 3rd time now. Twice before we've had a guy named Darian from our community of Wentworth, who's also similar to what you do. He deals with children that come from broken homes, you know, stuff like that, right? And he mentioned that if a person like is into drugs and stuff and they go to rehab, and then, you know, the rehab educates them and rehabilitates them and stuff, but then they come back into the home and that home is still the same toxic environment, you know. The second person we had was one of the gentlemen who does a feeding scheme called Child Time, right? He spoke about, similar to you, going into the schools and educating into the schools, right? Now, for me, I'm in the middle because, you know, you're the second person talking about going into the schools and educating, and then I had another person talking about education needs to start at home. Where's the balance there? Because you educate in the school, but then the children are learning that from home too, you know?
Yeah.
The father, because you mentioned a guy saying, one of the kids saying to the girls, "You mine," and I'm thinking, okay, where does he get that from?
Yes.
This thing of you mine, you know. So how do we, like, where's the pendulum swinging on that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do we get into the homes and make sure that this child has a stable enough environment where they also understand at the home? But then I'm also conflicted because you've got children that come from good homes, but in the schools is where they peer pressure and influence in the schools, you know, and you look at the child's family and you're like, but this family is a good family, but this person is pregnant at the age of 13, 14. Why? Because they're coming from, want to be like their friends, you know. But then again, I guess their friends' homes are. So where does it end?
Yes. That's always a tough question. I've said it before. You know, we cannot police what happens within the home, but we can try to make an impact. Because the divide sometimes we watch, as you say, between the home and school is something such a huge divide that way. Even if you're in a bad home and you go to a school where it's good, maybe good pressure, peer pressure, or good stuff you learn in it is what is healthy, but you still have to go home and deal with the monsters at home and all uh, all that comes with it at home. And so you have this thing of good and versus evil. Or whereas you come from a good home, but at school you have all this peer pressure. You want to fit in with the cool kids or whatever. And so I think it's all, like you say, if we can have a strong family unit, that's why my heart bleeds because we have so much where single mothers are carrying so much. They're trying to be the father too, and they're trying to raise this young boy to be not like the others what she sees out there. Those boys are on drugs. You cannot associate with them. But this young boy is growing up and he sees, oh no, but these guys are cool. The community fears them or respects them, whatever. And so he wants to be like them. So the mother is trying to fight the battle on her own without a father in the life. And when the father comes in, he's just paying maintenance or he just sees the kids now and again. And so I think that, as you said, the real battle really begins at home. Whether you come from a good home or a bad home, the battle always begins there because I've seen I've seen children who come from really good homes, and on the outside they're not influenced by what happens even at school, because that parent every day sits on him and says, "What happened in school? Tell me what happened in school." And so, if parents can come to the point and say every day, not just once a week, but every day, what happened in school? Tell me what happened in school. Have an ear to listen and understand. Instead of, sometimes we want to jump down the child's throat or discipline the child. No, tell me what happened at school. Then you bring fatherly advice or motherly advice that just will impact this child. This child will start thinking differently, because you can shape a young child's mind the way you teach them. I mean, the Bible clearly says, train a child up in the way they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. So we've got to have some values within the home. If a home doesn't have certain values, believe me, that child is going hayward.
Okay. Let's wrap it up there. It's been a very insightful conversation.
Sure.
Lastly,
we need to stop telling little girls that when boys pull their hair and hit them, they like them.
Yes.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Melissa.